Condensation is formed by the water vapour in the air. We have more efficient properties these days, so we're sealing them up, putting double glazed windows in, insulating them very well, so the water vapour can't get out of the property. So it stays in the property and it goes to a cold surface, so such as the window, which is one of the coldest parts of the house. Condensation is lifestyle caused by all of us, by breathing, by boiling the kettle, cooking, drying clothes on radiators. From having showers, it's water vapour within the property. Every single property will have condensation for one form or another. We recommend residents ventilate their homes by simply opening the window. It's as simple as that. If you open the window, allow cross ventilation of their home, the air movement will remove 90% of the moisture within the property, and therefore you don't get condensation and black mould in the property. Black mould is a fungal which is a byproduct of the moisture in the air being attracted to surfaces such as wallpaper and walls. And the black mould will spread because it does grow. It grows into the fabric such as wallpaper, or even worst case scenarios into the plaster of the walls. And once it's embedded in the walls, it's very difficult to remove. Damp is different to condensation. Damp is water trying to get into the home, whereas condensation is water trying to get out of the home. So the damp could be from a broken down pipe which has been leaking for some time and it's saturated into the wall, and therefore the damp's trying to get into the property. It could be a window sill stroke brickwork joint which has fouled and it needs to be resealed. It could be from a leaking gutter. Or the worst case scenario for damp is the rising damp, where there is a damp-proof course in the property at ground level which stops the moisture coming up from the ground into the property. Sometimes that gets bridged by putting a patio against it or putting plants and soil against it. If it gets breached, then the water can then go above the damp-proof course and then comes into the house. Swan has an obligation under its repairing charter, which has been agreed by tenants, to remove any damp or any causes of damp and rectify the faults. Condensation is not a repairing responsibility for Swan. However, as a caring landlord, we will try and help our tenants to eradicate the problem. In the first instance, an operative will attend, explain to the tenant the causes of the condensation, the moisture in the air. They will clean the moisture and the condensation mould off the walls in the first instance and explain to tenants what products to use going forward to maintain a clean wall or environment, and thereafter it will be tenants' responsibility to undertake the works. Most homes will be fitted with ventilators in the bathroom and kitchens. Make sure they're turned on when they're boiling the kettle, when they're cooking, and a lot of moisture from the pans, etc. to turn the fan on, which takes the excess moisture out. If you're having a shower, have the fan open or a window open in the bathroom, the warm air will go outside. It's as simple as turning the fan on and closing the doors, or putting covers on top of pans when you're boiling water to reduce the moisture in the air. We understand that a lot of tenants haven't got facilities to dry clothes outside, so they buy a tumble dryer. It's ensuring that tumble dryers are vented externally rather than allow the moisture from the tumble dryer to come back into the property. Most modern windows are fitted with trickle ventilators, which are louvers at the head of the window, which when opened will allow air circulation within the property at a low level but sufficient to contain the moisture. We recommend that a heating system is put on over the winter period for perhaps a bit longer than normal, an average degrees of about 19 to 21 degrees. This background heat will reduce the moisture in the air and reduce any condensation. However, we clearly understand with the current climate, the cost of electricity bills going higher, that tenants can't always afford to have the heating on all the time. So again, we recommend that they don't just turn it on for half an hour in the morning or half hour in the evening when they come home, but try and have it for as long as possible at a lower level, so it's a constant heat in the property.
There are a number of different mould treatments. There are anti-fungicidal washes which will actually kill the mould, and those will get rid of the black stains and whatever of the mould to an extent. Some of them it can't be eradicated completely, but it does a good job. Once it's been cleaned off and treated, then you've got to explain to the customer how to keep it at bay or stop it coming again. The chemicals usually will have killed it, so if they either adopt a lifestyle to prevent as much of the condensation as possible, or can treat their walls themselves, they will keep that problem from reoccurring.
The simplest way of reducing the mould in the property or the condensation in the property is by reducing the amount of water in the property, by ventilating the property correctly, and it will be tenants' responsibility to clean thereafter. If it comes to such a state where it's uninhabitable, then we will clearly look at it further and establish the cause and the need and try and provide extra insulation or extra advice of how to eradicate it further. Monitor your home to reduce the amount of moisture and wipe it down when you see it to avoid the mould being grown. Most of the products we're talking about today you can buy over the counter at supermarkets or local DIY stores. What you're looking for is an antifungal spray, and are relatively cheap to be able to buy, and just spray on and wipe off with a cloth.